So service encounter and service profit chain. Some part of this encounter is discussed in the chapter 5, but most of what we are going to discuss is covered in chapter 9 of your book textbook. Uh, at the end of our discussion, we'll discuss something called service profit chain, right? And how like employees play a major role in getting profit. Otherwise, our traditional thinking has been focus on customer, get the result, get more revenue, get more profit, right? Gradually, mostly service companies, right, are moving towards focusing on uh, I think Wipro or HCL that all our employees come first, and that is a surprising strategy, but it actually works. Unless you focus on employees, most of the times your customer service won't be that great. How do you train or how do you educate or how do you empower your employees to be a great company which have obviously great products and services, right? Anyhow, that is at the end of our slides. So let us try to complete the encounter strategy. What do you mean by service encounter, right? Service encounter is the concept of moment of truth. It need not be the first time a customer is visiting your store, right? Or it need not be a customer is first time buying a product or service. It can happen a lot beforehand when a customer is searching for information also, right? In this particular scenario, we are talking about a physical encounter. A customer, let's say last class you did that Zoom cart service blueprinting, right? It customer goes to the service center wherever the Zoom car has their offices, and they provide the forms, they fill that form and get the car for rent, whichever they want. But before that, when they are searching for information about which are the car rental services, what are the prices, right? Whether they are getting that information easily, from that point, moment of truth happens. So your design of providing that information has to be of world class kind of quality or criteria, right? You might have a very good price, you might have very good employees who treat customer excellent in excellent way, right? But unless the information what you provide, the information about your services products are not easily attainable by the customers, right? No matter how good your product services or your employees are, right, that will not benefit the customer, right? So moment of truth, always remember the first interaction. It can be a physical interaction when a customer is coming to your office, or it can be a digital interaction when customer is visiting your website or calling your number. Let's say there is a hospital, there is a helpline number. I want to understand what are the charges or what are the facilities available. If the number is not working, right? In emergency situation, I have to go to other hospital or anything like let's say your airport helpline or anything you can think of. So that interaction has to be also of that quality. So that is where the moment of truth comes. The first interaction when a customer comes into contact with your organization, right? It can be physical and it can be digital also, right? So here mostly we have mentioned about the physical interaction, but remember it can be digital also. If a customer is most of the services has gone into digital mode, right? The first interaction, at least in the digital mode, you want to have a take a insurance service. Today's class exercise, which you have to submit by Saturday or Sunday, right? That actually about the insurance services. So if I think about a service encounter for insurance services, there are two parts to it. When I'm taking a insurance and when I'm claiming a insurance. Anytime I'm taking a insurance, I'll compare with different insurance service providers. What are the charges? What are the premiums? What are the benefits? How easily I can access those information? Or is it irritating to me? Because anytime you go to a website, provide your number, you will get 1,000 calls. It is a irritating process to take an insurance, whether it is a health insurance or general insurance. But can I get that as a customer? Can I get that information easily? Second part, God forbid, let's say some unfortunate accident happened or anything happened, health insurance or something happened in my family, and I want to claim insurance. I want to process insurance. How smooth that process is? Can I do it digitally? Can I provide the documents digitally without going to office, without doing physical verification? That is where the cashless concept of health insurance has come into place, right? So these are each interaction is a moment of truth, and how you kind of carry out activities as your employees, as your organization, and what are your culture, what is your culture, company culture. That kind of affects all those interactions. It can be body language, it can be voice tone, and how you like kind of what kind of words you use, right? And each aspect your employees need to be trained. If it is a digital interaction, how your website is performing in severe like kind of, let's say, a lot of complaints are coming, lot of customer are visiting your website, can they access all the information easily, right? So those are the few things you have to remember if you are providing a service on digital, like, or most of your services have a digital part or significant digital encounter. How much time does it take to create first impression? Just imagine 30 seconds to 4 minutes. Then it applies for your interviews also. 30 minutes to 4 minutes, almost all the interviews take a decision whether to take that candidate or not. After that, whether you kind of a great answer, unless it is like kind of something is out of the world, most of the time they have already pre-decided within the first interview. And same thing applies for a customer also. Customer enters your office, the ambience, the way employee treats them, the voice tone, the body language, do they feel happy? If I go to a hospital and it is very scary, it is not clean. No matter the backstage processes, doctors, nurses, all the technology might be great, but I'll just go away from that hospital. I'll never go to that hospital. So those are the few things you have to. It is not about only employees. It is about the ambience. It about the settings, physical evidence. How do you manage them? How do you organize them? Right. So that is what matters as a, or signifies at a moment of truth. Right. Any questions on this? Yes, Vittal Bhaskar.
Yes, sir. So what if the interaction is not neither physical nor virtual? Like suppose we're hearing word of mouth. So will it comes under that moment of truth?
No. See, it is about the company's aspect, right? It can be a digital aspect or a physical aspect. Word of mouth is basically you are hearing about the company about through certain customers, friends, families, right? That won't be a moment of truth. Moment of truth basically your interaction with the company is any asset. It can be employee, it can be digital asset like your website. So that constitutes of a moment of truth. Here basically you are learning something from a company's customer or a somebody from your family or colleague who was who might have heard about that company, right? Let's say you want to rent a car. I might not have used Zoomcar, but I can say that you can take from Zoomcar. That won't be a moment of truth. But once you go ahead and search on internet and find that Zoomcar's website or Zoomcar's number, and maybe try to call them or search through that website and try to check what are the facilities or what are the vehicles available. That first interaction will be moment of truth. Not that you go there and when you start to book the like or try to take a car on rent.
Yes.
Okay. So now role of technology in a service encounter, right? There are 5 different models, and try to understand. Like I have given certain examples which are given in the books from the next page, but try to like kind of remember the examples and try to relate with how those work. Right? Technology-free service encounter, where technology might be in the backend. In today's world, we cannot say that there is any services product you take. Obviously, there will be certain technology available, right? But you can think of technology kind of requirement is minimal. You go to a lawyer for affidavit or you go to a notary advocate, go there in front of a courtroom, you sign certain forms and all those things, and the notarization or affidavit has been done, right? Or you go to a like psychiatrist or you go to a hospital just for a consultation. Most of the time, again, like I said, in today's world, it will be very difficult that obviously there will be certain kind of technology in certain part of the processes, but most of the time, so think of in this way, technology free means minimal technology involvement, right? Because this book, I think this model was back in 90s or 95, but nowadays getting a kind of service encounter where technology is not at all there is kind of impossible, close to impossible. So here technology free service encounter remember it as a minimal technology involvement, right? You go to a lawyer for affidavit, notary, there certain physical forms are there, you have to sign, they'll create the document, and that's it, right? So you think of those here, technology free service encounter. If you see the customer and server is the person who is serving you, the employee or the, if it is organization, it is employee. If it is a, there is no organization, the service personnel itself, the lawyer or the consultant, right? You go to a, you have certain investment to make, you go to a CA to just check with him, right? So that can be a server. That can be the person who is serving you. Server means the person who is serving you. So that is the technology does not play a direct load. Technology is in the back end, right? They might be printing a form through from internet, or they might be looking into different websites, right? But that is not directly involved in the encounter. Next is technology assisted service encounter. Service provider has access to technology, right? If you see, the link is between server and technology, right? Customer interacts with the server. You go to a hotel or you go to a airport to look into. If you are doing on its own, you have access to technology, right? But let's say you are not, let's 10 years or 15 years back, when people who are not familiar with that much with technology, booking online tickets and all those things, most of the airline tickets, people will go to, or railway tickets, right? I think of a railway reservation, how that happens most of the time. 15 years back, when IRCTC was just in like starting, right? Most of us used to go to kind of railway stations, will stand in the queue, will ask for a certain train, certain date, or we want to book a ticket, we'll fill that form and give it to that whoever is in that counter, right? So they have access to technology, right? So they might be in front of us, they'll be using that technology, and they'll tell us that whether will have a confirmed ticket or a waiting list ticket, and accordingly we'll decide, right? So that is how customer is interacting with the server. Server is getting the help of technology, that backend server in front of the customer, right? So that is where technology assisted service encounter, right? So the server is taking the help of technology to serve us, to serve the customer. Booking a reservation or going to railway station, that can be come under this technology assisted service center. Technology facilitated service center. If you see here, it is a complete triangle. I have also access to that technology. Server also has access to that technology, right? Sometimes what happens, if you like want to plan your taxes, right? Or a company wants to like kind of claim their benefits or any taxation, right? So they also have the access to all the details documents in the website or in the like whichever platform they are using for tax filing. The CA, chartered accountant, or the financial controller who is helping us, right? They have also to that access to that technology. Through that, they are helping us, right? Or you might say that okay, you want to kind of book certain or like return certain items or book certain product, right? You have access to that website. You call that customer care kind of executive. You want some additional information. He or she has access to that website, and that interaction happens, right? So here what happens, technology facilitated service encounters. Both the customer and both the employee and customer have access to same technology, same website or same platform, right? So that is where the technology facilitated service encounter happens. Or you can think of in this way, like right now the interaction between you, me, and the Zoom class, right? Zoom is the technology. I am like teaching you or serving you in a sense, and you are the customer or the students, right? The interaction is happening through that technology, right? And you might ask offline questions, like let's say through a chat box or through Google Classroom or through physical, like different WhatsApp or other messages also, right? So that is how the interaction might happen, customer and server, and we are both using the technology, right? Next is technology mediated service encounter. Customer and human service provider are no co-located physically, no face-to-face contact, right? So it is basically no physical interaction between customer and employee. You want to reserve a like kind of airline ticket, you just call the airline agent. They have the like kind of website, they have that website link, and you have that website link, and you ask them, okay, I want on this date 7F seat number 7F or 7C or whichever seat number you want, right? Or you want to like let's say Zoom card situation. You want to rent a car, you ask that, or you want to book a Uber. Obviously, in Uber, it is basically a last one technology generated service encounter. There is no interaction between, there is no employee actually who is interacting with you, right? It can be like when in Zomato, you are claiming a refund or putting a complaint, right? That might be a scenario where both of you are using the chat box in Zomato or Swiggy, right? And you might provide certain, like let's say there are certain items are missing in the order, right? You put that picture, show that to the employee, and they might refund some part of your whatever order amount, right? So that can be technology mediated service encounter, right? Last one is technology generated service encounter. Here the role of the employee is not there. Employee is very minimal. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So all the
Yes.
all the self-service, wherever you can think of ATM machines, you are going to like traveling through airplane and you print your boarding passes, right? There are no employees to help you, right? Wherever you think of self-service, right? Or those automated machines which will help you, right? In certain places, the billing counter, you just scan your items, whatever in certain Walmart and all those places, employees will not be in the counter to kind of process your items. You have to go put into, you scan your items, whatever you have purchased, pay the bill, and go out of the Walmart or whichever location you are purchasing those items, right? So in those cases, it is just interaction between customer and technology. Employees are not there, or employees are minimal. Involvement of employees will be minimal. Think about any like online purchases, right? Whenever, obviously during refund and all those things, we might have to call a customer care executive. Otherwise, it is just the website. Platform is there. Obviously, there are a lot many people are working in backend, maintaining the website, maintaining the server, maintaining warehouses, providing delivery, but they are not directly interacting with you. The order processing happens automatically through the website. The order goes to the warehouse, and from warehouse the items are dispatched, right? So when you are placing an order on online like website or e-commerce site, that can be a technology generated service encounter, self-service, right? There is no employees to tell you, okay, just think about if you go to a regular shop to buy certain clothes and you are buying it from Myntra or Flipkart or Amazon, right? See the difference. You go there, a employee will come and say that what do you want, what kind of shirt, what kind of pant, or what kind of dresses, right? What color and what kind of brand, all those information they are asked, and they provide those kind of dresses or whatever you want. In a website, all those activities you have to do your phone, right? You have to search, you have to find according to your taste, according to your fashion sense, you like kind of order those items, right? So that can be a technology generated service encounter. Any doubt in any of this?
In case of Zoom classes, can we categorize it into technology mediated because
Zoom
we both
classes.
are connected through technology.
Yes, I think you are correct. Technology, yes, yes. I think I was wrong in Zoom classes. Zoom classes will be technology mediated because we are not physically co-located, right? So Zoom classes, yes, Zoom classes will be technology mediated rather than technology facilitated, because they are basically facilitated is where I'm interacting directly with you, right? We are like physically present in a place, right? If I'm going to a class in physical classes and I'm showing certain, let's say, SaaS platform or a Tableau platform, right? And we are using both the platform, right? That can happen in a technology facilitated service encounter because it is happening inside a lecture room where both the customer and, let's say, I as a teacher and you as a student are physically present, and we are using the same platform, let's say Tableau or SaaS or whichever platform I am taking you on, right? So same technology we are using and that interaction is happening. So that can be technology facilitated. But here when we are both not present in the same location, right? We are like physically like not co-located, right? So in this case, Zoom can be a better example of technology mediated service encounter. I was wrong in that sense. Yes. Good. Is it clear or any doubt?
Sir,
Yeah.
Sir, in technology generated service encounter, can we consider, sir, like any automation service or any service which is creating for which was conventional in the form of old way and now it is connected to the technology?
Yes. So if you think of earlier, you used to go to a bank, right, to withdraw money. Rather than going to a bank, it is ATM machine. There are no employees to serve you there. Whatever money you want, you go to ATM machine, provide your debit card, get that money back, right? So earlier, if you see that there was no technology when ATM machines were not there, people used to go, and right now also few people go and stand in the queue. But yes, so that has been traditional when there is no technology, has been transferred. Automation has happened, and now you are using ATM machine. Airline, before COVID,
Yes, sir.
employees used to be there and print boarding passes. Right now, most of the airport, if you go, there are machines which will print your boarding passes, right? So that is the automation or technology interaction are happening, right? So that is where the technology generated service encounter. Then any questions on this? Okay, so again, these are the few examples which were given in your book. So I've just taken that from there. We have discussed certain other examples. You can like kind of for your understanding, you can look into this example which is mentioned here also, right? Technology assisted service encounter. You go to a hospital or X-ray, right? Or a dentist. You go to a dentist. They take a through that machine, X-ray machine. They're taking that X-ray of your mouth, right? Technology facilitated, that means whenever you want to file your tax claim and all those things, you are going to a chartered accountant. He is using the income tax portal to kind of provide you whatever tax benefits you can get and all those things. Mediated, here basically communication is usually enabled by a voice telephone call to restaurant reservation or a, let's say, customer complaint. You want to refund an item, it is not happening, right? You call that Amazon customer care service, they check the website, they check your order details, right? So that is where the technology mediated. Here there are no physical co-location, right? You are not in front of the employee. But when you are tax filing, most of the times you have go to that CA, like go to that chartered accountant, provide the documents, discuss with them whatever your financial plan. It is very difficult to, again, it can be done technology mediated. It is not, remember, it is not necessarily that every, whatever examples has been given, apart from few, like healthcare, obviously you have to go to dentist, right? Most of the times, like let's say, rather than going to a chartered accountant, there are standard H&R Block and all those platforms, right? So they have all the tax filing forms online available, right? You can utilize them, right? In that case, you are not going at all to a employee to discuss with whatever your financial planning and whatever your taxation benefits you want to see, right? So all this information can be changed. Like one example which I'm giving in the, let's say this technology free service encounter, law consulting psychiatry. You are going to in front of a kind of a consulting like person or a lawyer and discussing with them. Right now, if you see, there are few startups through which, or let's say this Practo and all those platforms, you can get help on video mode also, right? You need not have to go to a, so that technology free encounter, right? When the technology was in the back end, can be changed to a technology in a front end. There are many startups who are working to consolidate all those documentation process which is required in India. Let's say you want to carry out a affidavit, you want to carry out a rental agreement, you want to complete your land documents, certain which you need certain help from lawyers. Earlier, what used to happen, you will take a half a day leave, you will go to a courtroom or you will go to a lawyer's office and complete all the documentation. Now, few startups are working in that segment where they are like kind of like Practo is a platform for doctors. There are certain startups who are creating a platform for lawyers. So what will happen? Without going to a lawyer physically, right? You can contact them over phone or through that platform and get the help, right? So in that case, it won't be no longer a technology free encounter. It can be a technology mediated service encounter, right? Where both of you are not physically co-located and the still the you are getting the service of the lawyer or psychiatrist, right? Then technology generated service encounter. ATM machines, self-service kiosks.
Sir.
We have discussed that. Yeah.
Sir, that that fingerprint presentation presents, sir, means to the when we are entering the office and there is a fingerprint for the absentees and presentees. This is come under technology assisted, sir, or technology free service encounter, because
That
in
is not
a
a
service
service,
assisted
right? So that is not a service. That is just operation, right?
technology is, sir, but technology assisted with it, no, sir, because earlier there
But
was a bookkeeping
yes,
for that absentees.
yeah, but that is a operation. So that is not a service, right? That is just a attendance management system, right? So that attendance management system right now has been rather than having a register, right? That has been changed to a automated fingerprint machine, right? So that is not
Yes.
actually somebody who is providing you a service. That is just a company's process or a company's operation which has been automated. So company is not providing any service for that. So that company's process where there was a register, physical register, has been changed to a fingerprint machine. That won't come under here.
And sir, you are talking about the Practo Health, sir. This is come under, sir, technology mediated, no, sir? Mediated or
Depends upon, like, if you are like kind of just booking certain kind of test or booking certain like kind of test to be done at home, it can be appointment booking. So that can be again a technology mediated service encounter, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
But in Practo also they're getting into this you can buy certain items from there, like health related items, right? So in that case, it can be converted into a technology generated service item. Let's say you want to buy that diabetes test kit or a
Sir, diabetes, yes, sir.
so in that
Sugar
case,
test kit, yes, sir. Blood pressure machine.
Yeah. So those it can be again a technology generated, right? There is no interaction between employee. You are just ordering them from the platform. Any
Yes.
questions on this? So this is what service encounter triad looks like. The service organization or the company, right? Customer and the contact personnel or the employee, right? So contact personnel rather than employee, we are using the contact personnel because employees can be who are working in the backstage, employees who are working on the front stage, right? Uh, Client facing or the customer facing employees, right? So that is where the term of contact personnel who are actually interacting with customers, right? Because their characteristics or their nature, their attitude has to be little different. Their training need to be little different than who are working in the back end, right? That is where how to define and how to differentiate that we'll discuss. So what is if when the interaction between organization and customer, right? What a organization, service organization want is efficiency, and what a customer wants is satisfaction, right? Efficiency in the sense a company wants to process or wants to serve as many as customers possible with the minimal cost, right? Any product, it can be applied to product company also, right? One of the key criteria will be to get as much as revenue with less cost, right? So that is where your profit will come. So that is where the efficiency term is coming. Can I serve as many as customers possible with minimal cost? So if you see whatever wherever we are using, moving to that technology assisted to technology generated encounter, right? Lot of automation happening. Just think about in this way. Earlier, the amount of customers you can serve in a airport or in a, let's say, banking kind of office. If you go to SBI, ICICI Bank to withdraw money, you need to have so many employees to serve that many people who come to withdraw money, right? Withdraw cash. Now you have converted that into few ATM machines so that you will be able to serve as more customers with less cost, right? So that is where the efficiency comes into picture. But that again compared and contrasted with the satisfaction a customer gets, right? Because think about not all the customers are kind of happy with technology. Like think about in this way: if a customer complaint is coming, or let's say you have a customer complaint to make, you call Amazon or you call Jio or Airtel, right? The automated voice message, or you wait for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In between, the computer assisted certain bots will be talking to you, what help you need. For this you press 1, for that you press 8, like that interaction for 10 or 15 minutes goes before a actual human employee comes to help you, right? So think about a company's point of view. So they want to reduce the cost they employ in manpower. That's why they have made this interactive voice response and all those like taken the help of technology so that they reduce the cost. Also, obviously, they can serve the customer. But think from our end, who are the customers? It is very irritating to talk to a computer or this automated voice machines, right? And after 10 or 15 minutes only, a actual person will talk to us and understand our problem, then he or she might be able to solve that problem, right? So that is where the satisfaction comes to picture, right? How much automation or technology you want to implement in your kind of organization or company without sacrificing the customer satisfaction, right? Because service always intangible. Remember, the interaction, that human interaction, human touch has to be there, right? And that is one of the significant. You go to a restaurant, you order the food, it just get delivered. But you go to a restaurant, you enjoy along with your friends, ambience, light, music, the waiter coming, taking the order. So the whole experience. If I make it all automated, you just order, food will come to your like home right now, which has happened. Obviously, that has its own benefit, right? But there will be few customers who want that kind of ambience, who want that kind of experience, right? So that is where you have to keep a balance, right, between the company organization, service organization, and customers' requirement. Then between contact personnel who are serving a customer and customer, there is something called service delivery, right? We'll discuss something about roll-up scripts. Think about, and I keep repeating that. Think about any service encounter is like kind of a theater. Somebody like those people who are serving you are actors, the waiters or the banking or the healthcare professionals, whichever, or insurance providers, and the interaction which happens like that. Who will do what part, which kind of role? You go to a high-end five-star restaurant, you just go, somebody will greet you, will take to your table, you will be like given a glass of water, you will be given a menu, you will provide your order, a waiter will come with certain snacks, right? So that is a whole script, right? Who will play what role? Your role is very minimal. You'll just go there, be seated, be directed to sit somewhere, and all the like you'll be served like treated like a royal. Think about a fast food restaurant. You go there, you have to stand in a queue, you will provide your order, that order will be like tagged, or if you want to eat there, it will be provided on a tray. You have to carry that tray, come to your table. So that part of the role, where in a five-star restaurant a waiter used to do, now you are doing, right? Think about a online shop, e-commerce. That employee who used to show you all those items, understand what kind of items, what kind of clothes, what kind of any stationaries, books, or whatever you want to buy, right? Or you want to buy certain air conditioners, TVs, right? What used to happen? You'll go to electronic store, they'll display all the products are on display. Somebody will explain to you advantages, disadvantages, pricings, discount, warranty. Here, that script, think about it as a movie, right? So that role used to played by that employee. Now who is playing that role? As a customer, you have to go to your website, search for all the information, pay everything. Everything is happening, and only the technology or the platform or the internet is helping you. There is no role of a employee in the front end. Obviously, in the back end, everything being done by employees, warehouse management, what kind of items, how the website will be managed, right? So everything is happening in the back end. Front end employee interaction, unless there is a complaint, you never interact with Amazon, Flipkart, or any other like kind of e-commerce website, right? So that is where the service delivery comes into picture. Then here, if you see efficiency versus autonomy, if you see in the right side, there is something called efficiency versus customer satisfaction. Here, if you see efficiency versus autonomy, whether you have authorized your employees completely, or so that is the autonomy part, right? How much freedom they have to act on their own. Some companies have full faith on employees, train their employees like anything. So they kind of are free to kind of take the decisions. But in certain cases, like think about fast food restaurant, right? Every like kind of everything which is in the raw material, everything is pre-cooked and designed accordingly, right? Size, weight, color, everything is there. You just have to assemble and provide. So the customer, or sorry, the employee do not have lot of autonomy. But if you go to a first like kind of a high-end restaurant, that person has a lot of autonomy. Think about a hospital. Doctors have a lot of autonomy. So it is not that, okay, if this person comes, you have to treat like that. Hospital cannot say to a doctor like that. Doctors will have a lot of autonomy. Most of the cases, right? Most of the cases, doctors have a lot of autonomy. But think about a fast food restaurant. That employee, if you go to a McD or a KFC, everything is there. They just have to assemble and provide you the food. So they cannot decide, okay, I'll give you that discount, or I'll give you extra that, or the size, the quantity, that is already predetermined. Employee do not play that much role. The autonomy is less, right? So that is what the efficiency versus autonomy comes into picture. Obviously, efficiency, again, like we discussed, how well I can treat or serve the customers with less cost, right? How much revenue I can get out of most customers without burning my pocket, without like incurring a significant cost, right? So we'll discuss one by one what is important in an organization, what is about customer, and what is about contact personnel. Before going ahead, like I said, we'll discuss those three contact points: organization, contact personnel, customer. Anything you want to discuss on service delivery, efficiency versus autonomy, or efficiency versus satisfaction? The service organization, right? So again, there is nothing like a service organization. It is a company, right? Any company you can think of: Uber, Zomato, Swiggy, Jio, Airtel, right? Banks, SBI, ICICI, right? Anything, any company you can think of which is providing one or other services to customers, right? So the name is basically they are providing services. So that's why a service organization. It is nothing new, right? What kind of culture they have? Culture is one of the important criteria. If some of you have gone through those strategy management, right? So there is a great saying by this person named Peter Drucker: culture eats strategy for breakfast. No matter how great your strategy as a company, you can have excellent strategy, world class strategy, something which is very unique. You might have great products, services, but if you do not have a build a good culture, right? Internal culture matters a lot. If you do not have a culture which kind of motivates your employees, and which your company do not have a clear vision or mission, right? Company is going to fail. In a long term, company will not be able to survive or sustain. You might survive in a short term due to your product or service, but not in a long term, right? Think about like kind of the any company. They might have excellent product or service. People will start buying that product or service, but let's say the after sales service is not good, or the employees are not treating them well. Company is not like kind of responding to any complaint, right? Within the like 3 to 5 years, the people will stop buying their purchase. So some competitors will come and people will get into that competitor, right? That is where like lot of government kind of service companies fail. Think about initially, if you think of telecom companies, right? BSNL was BSNL for all those international calls, right? Those were the major players, because private players do not have that kind of authority or autonomy. Once government provided them, private players, all the like freedom, see the difference. If you want to change a SIM, or if you want to buy a SIM, it is a difficult process till now also. With all this number portability and everything, if you want to change from BSNL to some other mobile phone, it is a difficult task. And that doesn't happen with a private company, though right now there are only two and a half companies in India. So culture is one of the big factor in defining how your like I said, it doesn't, you can have a mobile like very average, above average product or service, but if your culture is great, how you treat your customers, how you treat your employees, if your like employees are working with you for last 10 or 15 years, right? So that is where you will make a difference in the long term. Obviously, in the short term, you might not be the number one in the market, but in the long term, you will win that position, right? Culture, like there is something called service master who provide those house cleaning services, right? There is a company called Service Master. Their motto is service to the master. So they treat all the customers as the master, right? So that attitude they have, they calculate the attitude to all the employees, right? Disney. So the if you go to a Disney theme park, all the so there is no designation of employee. So they have the cast members because that is a theme they are playing, right? Mickey Mouse theme or whichever Snow, whatever the other movies Disney's have, right? So all the themes they are playing, right? And everybody has a role to play, right? So the role people in that theme park are not employees; they are the cast because they are playing a role, right? So that is where I said the think about any service interaction as a theater. Some employees are playing a role. Then obviously empowerment. Do you trust people? So that is where we discussed about efficiency versus autonomy. How much freedom you give it to your employees, right? To interact with customers or to treat customers. Recruitment and training critical, obviously, because they are interacting with customers. What kind of language they are using? How do they dress up also, right? So if you go to a kind of airline, if you join any kind of airline industry, how do they dress up, how do they treat, how do they every aspect has been scripted, right? So that is where the training is critical. Control systems, how do you measure how the company or how the employees are performing, right? Do you have a measurement system in case of on-time delivery, in time of if you see all the service companies, after just the delivery happens, Amazon, Flipkart, there will be a, or let's say Uber, Zomato, Swiggy, almost all the service companies, they have a measurement system. So that's why you give that rating to restaurant, you give that restaurant to rating to the delivery guy. In Amazon also, they ask you to provide a rating to delivery partner and the company, which kind of seller which sold you those items, right? So because that feedback is important. With that feedback, they'll understand that how much performance, how they are performing, right? So that performance measurement system, right? Diagnostic system. If something is not going well, let's say you kind of Zoom car or let's say this Zoom Uber or Ola, right? Lot of complaints are happening. Unless they have that diagnostic system, understanding how that customer complaint is happening, why that is happening, right? They'll not able to control or they'll not able to improve on that aspect, right? So that is where you need to have control systems in place. Company need to, any service company, even it is applicable to product company, any company has to have a control system in place. How you are able to serve the customers, right? If you are not measuring that, how will you know that? How? Because that is what the service benchmark will come in place, right? You might any complaint comes, you are able to solve within 90% of the complaint being resolved within 24 hours, right? If that is your goal, unless you measure it, that every day, like each day, how many complaints you are handling, how much complaints are getting resolved, that is what will give you a percentage, right? If you do not have that in place, then you'll never know that how you are performing, right? So that is what control systems makes the impact. Supporting technology, like I said, most of the companies are moving into IT, use of IT to assist the personals, contact personals, right? Very rarely you will find that there is no digital or there is no help of IT, right? Anywhere you go to take any service, obviously there will be certain kind of involvement of technology or IT. Performance evaluation, right? Your performance, how do you evaluate the performance of the employees, right? Because as a company, your revenue might be great, your sales might be great, but if that is not getting distributed with your employees get salary, a great employee who is kind of gaining lot of customers, there is no difference between a mediocre kind of a average employees and a great employee, right? So that is where your performance, and that is where that performance evaluation system matters a lot. That has, and that will come from your control system. Unless you measure the performance, you're not able to pay for the performance, right? So in the annual review, whenever, whether it is a 360 or 180 or right now people are talking about 720. Your that part of your kind of performance evaluation system should be in place where you are measuring the employees' performance, accordingly guiding them or providing them feedback and increasing their pay, right? If a company, if an employee is doing great, that increase in bonus or increase in salary has to be proportionately that great, right? It cannot be average for all. That is where pay for performance plays a role. Again, that if you see, almost all the companies are moving into that direction. Very few companies who have a standard increment. Most of the companies have moved, whether it is a product or service, pay for performance. If you are doing great, your average increase in salary will be much more than the other employees, right? So that is where the organizational aspects come into a picture, starting with culture, then how you empower your employees. Do you have a measurement system, control system to measure performance? What kind of supporting technology your company is using, right? Think about a traditional post office. Now, any of the speed post, you can track your kind of postage, whatever shipments you are doing. 5 years back, that was not used to be there, right? But all the private courier providers used to provide that tracking system. So that is where the difference comes. Whether you have invested in IT, whether you have invested in that infrastructure technology, right? Then performance evaluation, obviously, right? Any questions on this? Then contact personnel, right? So how do you select those people who will be in the front end, right? Who will be interacting with customers, right? So that interview process. So these, if you see, these are all the interview processes, interview types. Something is called abstract questioning, situational dignity, and role playing, right? Abstract questioning is like, tell me like a situation where you handle your crisis well. Tell me a professional situation where you thought that you are going to lose, but you are able to manage a win, or you are able to overcome that situation, right? There was very tough situation, you are able to overcome that situation. So kind of abstract, but they want to see your attitude. See, let's say uh, think about a situation where your teacher or your parents were not happy with you. How did you handle that situation, right? Because so this will help you to gauge, like let's say if you are a manager in a company and you want to hire certain customer like kind of people who will face the customers, the employees who will face the customers. Let's say you have joined Jio or Airtel and you are in charge of that Airtel or Jio office, and you are hiring certain customer care executives, right? Who will be like on the desk and interacting with kind of customers day in out day out, right? How do you hire them, right? It is not about great point. It is not about kind of, obviously communication has to be there, but it is not about quantitative ability, verbal ability like they used to test, right? It is about how do they handle this kind of abstract situation, right? That is where the situational dignity will come into picture, right? So you'll tell a typical situation. Let's say you just reached the office and you saw a line of 15 customers in front of the bank, but 100 customers. And that happened, demonetization happened, people started like there is a long queue like in banks to withdraw money. How will you handle that situation? Let's say the HDFC or SBI comes to campus and they will be asking you that kind of question. What will be your response if you saw in front of, let's say you go to a bank, your bank, your wherever you are working, and there are 150 or 200 people in front of your counter? How will you handle that situation? You know that you will not able to serve them. It will take whole day, maybe 2 days to serve each of them. How will you handle that situation? So that is where they are giving that situational scenarios, right? Situational based question, situational dignity. Or you can play a role, right? The interviewer, or as an interviewer, you can be like a customer, and the whom you are taking the interview can be a employee. So now the interaction is very real. So he will play a role of angry customer. Hey, I have taken your this broadband service. It is not connecting. I am getting a very low speed. Refund. Right now, what will be your answer? no, I don't want to talk to you. Just call your supervisor, right? So this is where the role playing will happen, right? So these are basically different kind of interviewing techniques to hire correct employees, to hire employees who will actually be in the field, who will be actually interacting with customers, right? And this in a way will help you to understand how to answer your questions, right? And what a company is looking for. Let's say insurance company or a bank is actually hiring for a relationship manager, right? These will be the interview methods they will be applying. Situational dignity. They'll tell that, okay, you have joined our bank as a relationship manager. There was a high net individual, HNI. They have a relationship of around 5 crores a year with our bank, with our uh, whichever location we have. And now they are a little bit of angry and they want to withdraw their money, withdraw their assets from our bank. How will you handle that situation, right? So this will show you kind of the answers what you give will provide them confidence whether you are the right candidate to be a relationship manager or not, right? So these are few of the interviewing techniques. Then training. Once like those employees join the organization, how do you train them? So that is where the like different scenarios will come into place. Unrealistic customer expectation. Customer sometimes will have unrealistic demand. You double the money, you refund. So I have suffered a lot. Whatever I have paid you, double the money. Or your services are not good. You give me additional services. You give me certain additional discount. Right. And sometimes people do those kind of mischiefs in restaurants. After they eat, after they enjoy the food, they'll tell that food quality is not good. It was salty and all those things. Refund the money. Right. So how will you handle that situation? Right. In a hospital, like in most of the like kind of wearable services you can think of, in some cases, it's not always, services customers will have very unrealistic expectations, right? Which is not possible, which is not employee will not able to solve in a short time, right? Think about demonetization happens, there is a long queue, right? Everybody wants to withdraw money. But if there are only 2 or 3 employees in a bank, it won't be possible if 500 people are there in the queue, right? But everybody will want to withdraw money in that like kind of instant. What kind of training will provide your employees to handle that situation, right? Then unexpected service failure, which actually happens from the company. Your website might crash, right? Your like let's say delivery system, whichever like transport, let's say a restaurant is there, raw material did not come on time. Do you have a backup system? If it is a bank, let's say your server crashes, there is a power back like kind of blackout for half an hour or 1 hour. Do you have a backup system which can help you to overcome that situation, right? So unexpected service failure, right? Or slow service, like there can be different scenarios, right? Unexpected service failure, right? There can be slow service, there can be like a item, a product is not working, right? A raw material which was provided was of poor quality, right? So how you train your employees to handle those kind of situations? One is from the customer point of view. One is actually the service or the whatever you are providing is not kind of that quality or of that whatever you have promised, right? How do you train your employees to overcome this both these situations, right? Any questions on this?
So how abstract questioning is different from situational vignette?
Abstract
Like
questioning is
both
about,
of them are
yeah,
situational based.
no, abstract questioning is most of the times is about your past kind of how did you handle a crisis or how did you something which already happened in your life, right? Let's say there is a gap in your 10th or 12th, right? There is a year gap or 2 years gap. What did you do? How did you handle that situation, right? And most of the times you have already answered that, right? And that will come from the like kind of interviewer as a follow-up question. Situational dignity is specific to that company. You or like they'll provide, like I said, there are 500 customers in front of your counter. How will you serve them? Or there is like let's say you are in the that managing the airport, severe rain happening and the airlines or the aircrafts are getting delayed. How will you handle that situation? That is the situational dignity specific about the like company, specific about the service. Abstract questioning is most of the times about your life as that employer whom you are hiring, something abstract about their life. Think about a typical situation. Let's say your grade points are very low, your parents are unhappy, or let's say you saw your friend do something illegal. What will you do? Will you like report them to police, or will you counsel them? So that those are the abstract questioning about that person's life, that person's attitude. Situational beignet is a particular situational based scenario which will happen in a company, which will happen in that specific service scenario. Role playing is where that person, that interviewer is playing a role of a customer. Now you have to like that in sales scenario, they try like kind of one of the overused question is sell me a pen. So that is a role play, right? So the interviewer is playing a role of a customer, and you are selling that pen to you. Or like a customer case, I can say that I'm an angry customer. I have come to make a complaint. So let's start. So I'll say that your services are not good, and you just refund me. You double the money and pay me back. Whatever you say, it's no, you are not worthy. Just bring your supervisor. I want to talk to you. Right. So how you handle that actual scenario if I play that role? Abstract questioning is about your life, your what has happened in your life, or theoretical scenarios about your life. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Then next is customer. What kind of expectations and attitudes customer have, right? Some customers are economizing, right? So there always will be the cost in mind, right? So obviously they want great quality, but the major parameter is cost. They always want to save money, right? So there will be certain few customers like that. Ethical customer. Ethical in the sense here, some customers, if you see, are much more, they will not use certain material which is not environmentally like kind of safe, right? They'll not go to a restaurant, or they'll not, they'll see that, okay, no child laborers are there. Obviously that is illegal, right? So those kind of customers who are kind of follow the legal processes, right, are always think about, let's say in a product based company, if you can think of, you are not using those leather which is coming from like kind of animal hide, right? It is there, they will always buy the artificial leather items, right? So those can be termed as ethical customers, right? Personalizing customer who need much customization, right? So they just, so they can pay a lot of price, they can, they are the premium customers, right? But everything need to be customized for them, right? So they are okay. So see the difference, economizing. So he is like, his main criteria is cost. Here personalizing customer mostly look into the quality, different options they have, right? So that is where, when if you are a, like kind of a make my trip, or let's say uh, uh, hotels, right, restaurants, how do you target the different kind of customers will be different, right? Same restaurant, when you are talking to it and understanding the customer, because the interaction time will be how much, 30 seconds to 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Within that period of time, if it is a like kind of regular customer, obviously you will get an idea, right? But if it is a new customer, it is very difficult to understand which kind of customer he or she is. And that is where, as an employee, that front end employee need to be that excellent to understand, to have a view about that customer as quickly as possible. Then only you can pitch, then you can sell your ideas, sell your services, right? And that is where those actually, if you have seen certain movies or TV shows, those real estate, those sell those apartment, right? So see their selling quality. So they will gauge within those 5 or 10 minutes of interaction which kind of that customer is. Accordingly, they'll show you those kind of apartment which they will be like selling to you, right? Convenience customer, right? Who needs like kind of everything in his like kind of, basically customers like you and me, like who are mostly online, like kind of taking the help of technology, e-commerce, don't want to travel much, we want everything at our home, right? So those will be the convenience customers, right? Like let's say Zomato, those people who do not want to go out ordering food. Obviously COVID like kind of forced most of us. But before that also, right? Some of us do not want to put that effort to go to, like if you want to eat something, rather than going out, order food, right? Some people will be always there going to a restaurant because the personalized services they get, right? The interaction with waiters, that is a great experience for them. For some of us, it might be just eating food is most important rather than that experience, right? So you order to home, right? So if Zomato is targeting for different customers, they'll have different kind of targeting pitch, right? How do you approach the different kind of customers? And role of scripts in co-production. If you remember, I was talking about that, like in fast food restaurant, who who is playing which role, right? What kind of role that employee who is packing your food, who is in the billing counter, what he is doing, and as a customer, what I am doing. So that is the difference between a five-star restaurant and a fast food restaurant. In a fast food restaurant, you are basically play the role of a customer and a waiter, because you go give the order, take the tray, come to the table, eat your finish your food, and put the tray in the like tray desk, right? But in a five-star restaurant, everything, your bill will also come to your table. Order will, they'll take the order, they'll bring the order, they'll after like you have finished your food, bill will come to your kind of table, right? So roles are different there. So there is a employee who is playing the role of a waiter. But in a fast food restaurant, a customer is playing the role. So that is where the co-production happens. You are playing the role of a waiter. Similarly, in a airline, if the employee is not there right now in COVID, most of the airport, they do not have a front-end employee. So there are machines. So now what you do, you play the role of providing the like whatever authorization and getting the printout and getting the boarding pass. So you are co-producing with the company. So that is the meaning of co-production. Any questions on this? So we discussed three factors in the service encounter. The company we discussed culture, empowerment. How do you have a control system, right? Do you have technology? Have you invested in technology, right? What kind of performance evaluation? Evaluation should be pay for performance, right? Then only a great employee who is like interacting with customers, they should be get that bonus or additional amount of money, right? Those perks or benefits, right? Then only they'll be motivated to serve customers better, right? Then we discussed about the contact employees, right? How do you recruit them? What kind of interviewing techniques? Then how do you train them for what? Unexpected service failure and unexpected customer demands, right? Then the customer, different type of customers are there, and how do you handle them, right? So this is so where those three parameters or three angles of that service encounter triad works: company, company, contact personnel, and your customers. Any questions on this? So this is what is a service profit chain. What do you mean by that? How a company generates profit, right? So think about from the right hand side, if you see, this is the marketing aspect, right? I have a target market. So this is where the customer lifetime value comes into picture, right? If I have a loyal customer, right? The revenue I get from a loyal customer, from a regular customer or a new customer is around 5 to 10 times. Again, those numbers vary. Sometimes it is 3.8, 5, 10, depending upon the service scenario. But the main idea is, if I have a repeat customer, a loyal customer who is taking my services again and again, the revenue I get, because I'm not spending any more cost. The once I approach him, when a customer takes my service, he is taking service product from me again and again, right? So that additional cost which I incur to get a customer is no longer there. So I save a lot of cost, right? So this profit, whatever next time that customer comes, everything is profit for me, right? So because the acquisition cost of a customer is almost nil, right? Because that customer is my loyal customer or a regular customer. So that is where the loyalty for marketers, getting the repeated customer is like kind of a dream. If you are able to get that, if you are able to convince your customers to be the repeat customers, loyal customers, there is nothing about it, right? And that will give you the revenue growth. If revenue increases, cost remaining same, it will increase your profit, right? So they are the importance of lifetime value. How much revenue you get in a lifetime of a customer, that is lifetime value. Do you have able to retain them in a long term? So that is why right now Vodafone is facing that issue. From I think how many 10 crores or 20 crores customers, they are reducing every day. Few lakh of customers are abandoning them, right? Repeat business, how much repeat business they bring. So that is where the annual revenue per unit, if you think about telecom industry, there is something called ARPU, annual revenue per unit. Per customer, how much revenue they keep getting, right? That is where the Jio is doing better, around 136 or 140 rupees compared to Airtel and Vodafone. Vodafone is lowest, I think 110 or 115. Airtel is in between 120 or 125. Right? And that makes a lot, because repeat customer, a customer who is being loyal with you for lot many months, lot many years. So they that like kind of revenue is repeating with you. Referral, that word of mouth, because that is that you are not putting any advertisement as a company. Everything customer sees excellent service product from you, and they are providing that word of mouth, so that people get information about your company at service, and they come and buy from you, right? Then
So sorry to interrupt you. So it's 9:47 already.
yeah, okay, then